It is Monday, September 25th. I'm Jeremy Lambert. That is SP3. Joel Pearl's not here. I don't know what he's doing. No idea. He just messages me and is like, "Hey, not going to do the show today." I was like, "All right, thanks for the heads up, buddy. Appreciate that." And then he's like, "I'm just going to message SP3." I said, "Okay." I figured that because we always message SP3 in these situations. And God bless SP3. He is here. Joel is actually it's a Jewish holiday. Let me be
Yes.
fair to him.
Don't,
It is a Jewish
don't do him
holiday.
like
So
that.
yeah, he's getting the day off. Must be nice. Must be nice to have a day off around here. SP3, not us. We don't get these days off. No matter
No.
what holiday it is. Labor Day, Veterans Day, Father's Day. What?
I work all them days. I work all them days. Mother's Day, Grandfather's Day, Best Friend's
Christmas,
Day, Stepson
Thanksgiving.
Day, Stepfather Day, Daughter Day. I celebrate all of those. And I'm working. I'm in the streets, I'm in the weeds, and I'm glad to be back here in the weeds. The Gregory Eddie of Fightful is back on a Fightful channel, and I am here because someone called out. Someone called out from work. Substitute teacher is here. I already got the keys. Sean Rossett made sure I got the keys to the restroom. I got the keys to the restroom so I can use the restroom. Yeah, I'm already a regular here, but they can't give me a job. Substitute. But no, I'm glad to be here, Jeremy. It was a good weekend in wrestling from Friday Night SmackDown, AEW, all that good stuff. So I'm here to talk it all, and we got a great special guest today. So excited.
We're gonna get into everything from the weekend, and as SP3 mentioned, we do have a guest joining us around 10:45 a.m. Eastern. He is the new Black Label Pro World Champion. He won Black Label Pro Turbo Graps 24 this past weekend. He is part of Violence is Forever. He is Kevin Ku. Kevin Ku is going to be on the show about 10:45. I'm terrible. 40 minutes from now, give or take. Terrible at math. I'm like, how long away is 10:45 from now? Oh, it's 40 minutes. Yeah, that makes sense.
Minutes.
So
there you go.
Something like that.
We got plenty of stuff to talk about, Jeremy. It's like FMC and In the Weeds all together today. It's great. You get to see me more than once in a week. I know that makes your week. Other than your wife, I'm the face you want to see every single day.
I got kids, like I can't bury them. I do love your face. It is nice. But like I can't bury the kids being like I don't want to see them.
I mean, well, yeah, that's true. That's true. I'll be in the top 10. I'm in the top 10.
Okay.
You're in my top 5 because I got my twins and the missus, and Satney Nyangi was on True Hill. He's got a pretty face.
I saw that.
You're in the top 6 actually because I do a show with Chris.
Wow.
So, but yeah, no, top 6.
Wow, I just got pushed down live on air right then and there.
It's because Sat reminded me how pretty his face is. So shout out to Sat eating the Yankee.
Am I above Alex McCarthy? That's all I care about.
I just put you above Alex McCarthy, and he's a beautiful man too. And
I didn't know if you were just gonna revise your list right here on the spot and put me below. No. Do we need to get the tiers? Jerome YouTube, get the tier list of beautiful faces.
That's a brilliant idea for me to do a tier. I'm gonna do a tier list of everyone I've do shows with or done a show with. That's what I'm
gonna. That you're gonna make some enemies off of that. You're gonna make some enemies off of that.
The shares of the world, Kate, Chrissy.
Yeah,
Stephanie,
I shouldn't be.
They're top tier, and then you're right there, right below them.
Now I'm below them.
I'm grading this not on faces. I'm grading this on who I do shows with.
I mean, I should be below share anyway. So
yeah, exactly.
What do you mean exactly? You're agreeing. You shouldn't agree with me. You said I was top 6. Now I'm top 7.
You're top 6 faces that I want to see in a week. That's very honorable.
I feel like you've already just pushed me down. Yeah, Ryan says it. I'm quickly falling.
No, he's in the top 10. He's very least in the top 10.
I
Come
was
on.
top 5, and
You're
now
top 10. You're top 10. Top 10, dead or alive. And that's just on one LP.
yeah, SP3, you are. I'm not gonna have you back on this show. Not gonna be back at all. I need a new co-host for FMC. It's just gonna be me and Cher moving forward. I'll get her basketball takes, and
There
then
you go.
it needs or spotlight. We're gonna have to call on somebody else to be the replacement. Now I don't know who that's gonna be, but you've been replaced, SP3.
You know, I've been mean to you because I'm still a little bitter that you made winning time get canceled. You know,
Oh,
so
here we go with this.
so I think that's what you know. Yesterday I was so lost without winning time. I binge watched the season 1 of Heels because I know that's next. Y'all better watch Heels.
Wasn't winning time? The season was over anyway.
So what?
So
It's so lost
you
without it.
wouldn't have had it to watch anyway last night.
I would have still watched it, but I didn't want to have
But
PTSD, so I watched season 1 of Heels, which great stuff.
you could have
Heels. Do
watched
you watch
it.
Heels, Jeremy?
No. I watch enough wrestling.
This guy
Why am I
this
gonna
guy
watch a show? Why am I gonna watch a show with fake wrestling when I watch real wrestling? You know, Heels is fake, right? You know, it's not real.
Oh, it's
You know,
real.
that's scripted.
It's real. It's realer than every single wrestling promotion out there. Ricky Rabies is still on television. I thought he got fired in real life, but that's real. This is real life. He still got a job. Ricky Rabies.
You know that show's scripted, right?
No, it's not. It's
You
all real.
know,
It's all real. They lost their father. How dare you?
is Christian Cage gonna show up?
I know Christian Cage gonna show up in Duffy. He gonna be like the Spade brothers. I hear you had a father that was a wrestler.
That'd honestly be awesome. I'll watch the show if Christian Cage shows up.
Oh, that's perfect.
I'll watch the show if he shows up and does that bit. That'll get me to tune in. Otherwise, I watch enough wrestling. I'm not going to spend my time watching more wrestling. That sounds awful.
It's great stuff. Cinema.
Football is on Sundays. SP3 Sundays is for football, not for more wrestling.
I watched them some football. I watched the Steelers game.
That was an okay game, I guess.
Yeah, that was fine.
Yeah.
I heard the Broncos got whooped got 70 put on their head.
All right, the Dolphins coach should be fired. Absolutely fired for not going for the record. I'm very angry about this.
Why are you so angry?
Because I'm tuning into this game and I'm ready for history to be made. They got 70. They got 70 with like 8 minutes to go in the game. It's like, oh, you could easily get 73. All you need is a field goal. You've been scoring touchdowns left and right. I know the backups were in at this point, but all you need is a field goal. And the running back breaks off like an 80-yard run. I'm watching this. The wife's watching. We're cheering. The kids are coming in. Like, what is going on here? And we're like, we're about to watch history. We're about to watch this record be broken. Most points scored in an NFL game by one team. We're going to watch this be broken. They're in field goal range. They are in field goal range. All they got to do is kick the field goal. It's 4th down. It's like, here we go. Here we go. They're going to kick it. And no, they trot out the offense to take a knee. What? Why? What are we doing? And like,
sportsmanship.
No, this is bullshit. By the way, I'm past 5-minute mark. This is bullshit. It's like, oh, they're showing respect. Respect to Sean Payton. Fuck Sean Payton, by the way. Respect to Sean Payton. Respect out here. This is good sportsmanship. Oh, they didn't want to rub it in. They scored 70. They already rubbed it in. It's a 50-point game. It is already sportsmanship out the window a long time. They went for it on 4th and goal when they were already up like 35-7. All right? It was 35-7. You could have kicked the field goal then. You could have kicked the field goal, and that would have showed sportsmanship. You went for it on 4th and goal when you were already up by 3 touchdowns. And you're telling me about sportsmanship? That's why you took the knee? No. Absolute bullshit. This was cowardly to not go for the record. Cowardly. You owed it to your team to go for the record on that. You owed it to them, and they didn't do it. I was so upset by this. I'm not even a Dolphins fan. I don't care either way. The Broncos, honestly, they weren't tackling. That sucked.
No.
They should have let them score. When my man had the long run to get them into field goal range, should have just let him score. You know what? At least let's make this game memorable for this heartache that we've gone through. Instead, it's just a 50-point beatdown. At least make it memorable of like giving up the record. Because now you would have given up the record, but sportsmanship. I'd rather just go ahead and give up the damn record if I'm going to lose that badly. This was
They
bullshit.
prevented.
They didn't prevent shit.
They prevented the record from
the
happening.
offense made the decision to take a knee, so they didn't prevent anything.
They stopped them on third down.
Damn thing.
They prevented it.
They stopped them on third down because the Dolphins coach is a coward and just ran the ball the entire time.
They could have got first down by running it.
Nonsense. This was absolute bullshit. Yeah, I'd rather just give up the record in that sense. Be in the record books. Who cares if it's a bad reason? Be in the record books. You know, the Oklahoma City Thunder are in the record books because that's when LeBron James scored the most points in NBA history. They stopped the game for a 50-minute ceremony for this man, and they ended up losing. But they stopped the game for a 50-minute ceremony to
the Toronto Raptors
him.
are famous for Kobe Bryant scoring 81 on them.
Yeah, just be in the record books. Otherwise, you're just a team that lost by 50 in a regular season game. That's not any better.
They'll forget about that loss.
They won't.
A few weeks. They won't ever forget giving up the record. So that's why.
It's worse because if you give up the record, all the focus is on the offense that broke the record. Look at this. They broke the record. They broke the record. They broke the record. Now all the focus is on you just got your ass beat by 50. And you got a gentlemanly agreement that you got a sympathy agreement that we weren't going to break the record on you. It's far worse. It's far, far worse. You'd much rather just give up the record. Stupid. Dolphins coach should be fired. Sean Payton should be fired. Russell Wilson is washed. He's cooked.
He's been cooked since last year. So
he's cooked.
Ever since he took off a Seahawks jersey, he's been cooked.
It's pretty.
And he was kind of cooked even in the last couple. Well, no, he had a last good season, but yeah.
Will says Heels is probably better than watching the Panthers. I'm a Panthers fan too. I don't watch the Panthers. There's so much football on. Do you think I am dumb enough to like have the Panthers on and pay attention to them? I do this bit. Nobody's caught on because I'm not popular enough in the world of sports, and certainly not Panthers Twitter. I've not tweeted about the Panthers like middle of the game one time this season. All I do is I do the Magic Johnson bit after the game of like, oh, the Panthers fell to 3-0. They had a good effort, but too many penalties cost them. They lost, however. Just like recap the game. That's my Panthers tweet.
Magic Johnson. No, I know. I laugh because I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I follow Magic Johnson and have to see that after every single Laker game. It's that recap tweet that he puts out.
That's all I'm doing with Panthers game. I ain't paying attention to this stupid team. They suck. They're awful. The worst part about it is they traded their first round pick to get Bryce Young, who's injured. And so now they're 0-3 with no first round pick. The Bears are going to have the top 2 picks in the NFL draft. Congratulations to the Bears because they got the Panthers pick and they suck. And they got their own pick and they suck. So
the Bears.
Yeah, I've got no use for the Panthers. It's not even like a good product. Like, it's just boring football. It's just terrible. So I'm not watching that. There's so much other football on. I watched the Taylor Swift game yesterday. Taylor Swift, let's go ahead and throw these shots out here. Worked for Travis Kelce.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Come on in the weeds.
There we go.
You can talk about professional wrestling with us. Talk about anything you want, honestly. Talk about your songs.
Talk about Travis Kelce.
Talk about your experience at the NFL game yesterday. Whatever you would like, Taylor. As much time as you want. You only got 5 minutes. We'll make the most out of this 5 minutes. Okay?
Yep. Swifty in the weeds.
Taylor Swift, you are formally invited to join in the weeds. All right? We're just throwing shots out there. Worked for Travis Kelce. What does he have besides millions of dollars and multiple Super Bowl rings?
There's plenty of crossover material too in professional wrestling. So many connections to Taylor Swift, whether it's The Rock singing "Shake It Off," whether it's MJF quoting "Shake It Off" in a promo against Roderick Strong, or even Taylor Swift babysitting the young children of Jeff Jarrett. There's so much for us to talk about. Taylor Swift, I'm a substitute teacher here at In the Weeds, and I approve this message.
I've written about 50 Taylor Swift articles for a wrestling website. All right. I know there's plenty of crossover here. I ask wrestlers about Taylor Swift because it's easy clicks for me. It's easy material for me. So look, Taylor Swift, you are well loved on this website, largely because of me. Please come on In the Weeds.
You are what Lil Wayne was to rap music. She is to pop music.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I guess we can talk about wrestling. Guys, leave a thumbs up on this video.
We've got 17 minutes.
That's how the show works. That's how the show works. Okay.
That's how every show I do with you works, Jeremy.
Yeah. Guys, leave a thumbs up on this video. Leave us a super chat if you would like. Get your question, comment, statement read on air. Although, as I always like to say, we are always trying to just be interactive with the chat, whether or not you give us money. We appreciate the money. It doesn't go to me. We appreciate the money. And that guarantees your question, comment, or statement gets read on air. But leave a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed. Wrestling SP3. Let's go all the way back to Friday night and Friday Night SmackDown. For some reason, I don't know why, by the way, Joel Pearl, he did the thumbnail for this. He put Asuka and Io Sky in the thumbnail. I did not ask her this. I think he was going for the kick thing because he's got Danielson stomping Ricky, and then he's got Asuka kicking Io. I think that's what he's going for. I did not ask for this thumbnail with them. I have no problem talking about the Asuka and Io match. It was a very good match.
Yeah.
But let the record show, this was not my request. This is Joel Pearl going into business for himself. And that's
what
why
would you have picked, Jeremy? What have you have put?
Just Bryan Danielson. I don't want anybody else out there. I like Asuka. I like Io, but we're talking about Bryan Danielson.
That's fair. That's fair.
You know, the new era. Tony Khan's out here promising a new era in the world of AEW. So,
and he's in the main event. He's in the main event. That tells you everything you need to hear.
Tony Khan's in the main event?
No, Bryan Danielson.
Oh, well, he always should be in the main event.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Asuka and Io. What'd you think of this match? And were you disappointed as I was that Charlotte Flair did not just immediately get in the ring and kick both their heads off?
I was immediately disappointed that Charlotte Flair was there.
Wow.
Because no, I'm not big hater energy. I wanted all the attention on the two ladies in the ring, and I think that kind of diverted it at first, but they got into the flow of things. They had a good matchup. I like the fact that the in-ring work wasn't all that, consistent all the time. There was a couple of clunky moments, whether ringside or in the ring, but it just kept having a good pace to it, and it felt like a big time matchup, and it just kind of escalated at the right time, and it peaked at the right time. The finish, little sports entertainment-ish, but I feel like they kind of left a lot on the bone to go to a rematch on pay-per-view. But Io Sky, I think she's had a pretty good reign so far. They just need to put more attention on her and make her the focal point of her storylines, because I still don't feel like they have done that since she's won the championship.
I'm with you. I get where you're coming from on that. I mean, once Charlotte came out, it was pretty much immediately known, like, okay, we're going to get some type of, I thought we were going to get an interference. And I hate when WWE does this. They did it on Raw the other week. They had these long matches that just end with interference or a DQ, and it's like, this is so dumb. We get invested in like a 15-minute match, and then it's a DQ.
Nakamura and Ricochet.
Yes.
The Nakamura and Ricochet match from Raw. That's how I felt. I was just like, no, this actually was good, but why did it have to do that finish? That was stupid.
Was that the match? My memory's terrible when it comes to this stuff. Is that where Ricochet used the chair?
Yes, Nakamura grabs the chair and then Ricochet right in front of the referee like a dummy says, I'm going to use the chair, and then gets mad at the referee. I was like, yo, y'all completely, Ricochet was looking good this whole matchup, and then y'all did that finish. It just made him look like a dummy.
Yeah, when they do this of like, hey, let's get invested in this long match and then do a DQ. If a match is over 10 minutes, don't do a DQ. 5 and under is the only time you can do a DQ. Between 10 and 5, I'll give you a leeway depending on what we're doing here. Over 10, you got to give me a conclusion to the match. You can't do a DQ after a 10-minute match. I've invested too much at that point. Can't do a DQ by that point.
I feel you. It's just done too often, and it's usually telegraphed with WWE as well. But this finish, I kind of get where they're trying to go with, that Bayley is helping Io throughout her title reign. I just want Io to be presented as a world beater and someone that can just win on her own. And I don't want any dissension in Damage Control. I kind of see what they were going for with Io as champion, Bayley being there and being by her side to cut the promos for her, makes the whole act. And it's for the first time in a year of Damage Control, they actually feel like a functional stable. They don't seem like a band of losers like they did for a year.
They certainly did feel like a band of losers, especially when Bianca was just beating them all by herself. That was like right after they formed.
Dude, I was like, who thought this was a good idea? I was like, Triple H's the same guy that was a part of Evolution and DX, and he helped with the Shield, and he helped with Undisputed Era. How did he think that was the right way to build the stable?
Well, he put the tag titles on Io,
but they didn't even win the tournament.
I know.
They didn't even win it. He every step of the way, it was like he found another way to like take them 2 steps back. It thought like it wasn't until Io won Money in the Bank that the stable actually felt like they had some potential here.
It was very weird that they didn't win the tournament when the end game was just it felt like a surprise just to do a surprise of like, everybody thinks Damage Control is going to win. No. Here's Raquel and Aaliyah winning. And then what happened to them? Not
one of them is not even with the company.
It's very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate that Aaliyah got released, but like them just as a tag team, like they were done once they lost the titles. Like, all right, well, we're done with you guys. So next, moving on. They didn't do anything with this. Hey, look, Senor Nerd, you're speaking to SP3, who has been on the Triple H hater bandwagon for pretty much his entire time.
Yeah. for at least the last 20 years. It goes back to 2003. 2003, Triple H became the first wrestler that actively made me not want to watch wrestling. The Reign of Terror. It goes back to all the way to that. And then that's when I discovered the internet wrestling community, and then all the stuff came out about him and Stephanie. I'm just like, and then I thought about his history. I was just like, man, you wouldn't even be none if you wasn't friends with Shawn Michaels. Like, like, if you want to talk about Triple H haters, I got years worth of material.
Yes. So SP3 has been beating the Triple H is overrated, especially as a booker drum for a while. Now. So yeah, that Damage Control at least does feel a little bit back on track until Charlotte takes her #BowDown, takes her rightful spot at the top of the throne as the queen, because I just assume she's gonna win the title. Just why wouldn't she?
Yeah.
She's Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, I think it's probably looking like Charlotte's going to be the one that beats Io for the championship to set up Bianca versus Charlotte. It seems like WWE has kind of really set up, which is a good thing, set up months in advance a lot of their WrestleMania matchups, because but they have also telegraphed and foreshadowed a little too much a lot of their WrestleMania stuff, where it's like, okay, but what are they doing now? And I think that's an issue with WWE in general right now, is that yes, you have stuff planned in advance and that's what fans have been asking for, but you're not living in the moment. And right now, a lot of like SmackDown, and I think that it's kind of been a common thing that I've said over the last couple of weeks with SmackDown, is it's in a holding pattern. And a lot of people want to say, oh, that's because Roman's not on television. I'm just like, no, it's more than just the Bloodline storyline, which I called from SummerSlam that this would be the case. Of this storyline does not feel as hot as it did before SummerSlam, after SummerSlam, because they mistimed the Jimmy Uso turn. But everything else on SmackDown, it doesn't feel hot, other than like LA Knight. There's guys that are over a lot in WWE. This is probably the most over babyface WWE has ever had at one time, but none of them are really in hot programs.
Well, a large part of that is because SmackDown has just been built around Roman for so long that everything else just felt underneath it. And so with Roman being gone, it's like, okay, well, now you got to elevate new people. LA Knight kind of elevated himself during that time. He unfortunately missed Friday due to COVID. Hopefully he's healthy and gets back for this Friday, because if they're going to do this Fastlane match with him and Cena, he's probably going to need to be around a little bit. The Bloodline stuff did feel very much in a holding pattern. I said the same thing with Jimmy. I love Jay on Raw. I think they're doing very good with him. SmackDown, I liked this past Friday with everything, because with Jimmy, he is very much trying to take that leadership role type of thing. And I do wonder, like, Solo's giving him kind of side eyes. Paul Heyman is telling stories with facial expressions in the background. And then once Roman comes back, how does he react to everything? Jimmy, the first couple of weeks did feel like, okay, what are we doing? Now he's definitely like trying to step up and punch above where he actually is in the hierarchy, because I think he's at the bottom of the list at this point. But he feels he is the number one guy right now with Roman out, and that is rubbing people the wrong way. So once Roman comes out, this is what always happens with the Bloodline stuff, is everyone's like, oh no, it's not, this isn't good. Cody should have won. Jimmy should have won, or Jay should have won. I don't think anybody really thought Jay should have won, or was going to win. But
like, I'm not even somebody that's saying that Roman should have lost. I was banging the drum of Cody didn't earn it at WrestleMania, and I thought that WWE would think the 1,000 days was more important than Cody finishing his story. I was right. I got sucked into the whole story of it because they did a great job of building Cody up, and it felt like it was the right moment for Cody. But yeah, I thought that WWE would value the number and keeping the title on Roman more than Cody finishing his story, and I was right in the end. Right, what I'm saying right now is that this week I do agree with you. This week SmackDown was the first week where I was just like, okay, the Jimmy stuff actually made sense on this show, but I then have to think about it in the wider spectrum that it's been 8 weeks since SummerSlam, and they have changed their mind on Jimmy Uso's character at least 3 times already. At least 3 times already. They had the heel turn, then he had the weak excuse. Then he thought he was gonna be on his own. He was on his own for 5 minutes, got dropped on his butt by Cena and Styles, and then decided, when Solo told him, you don't leave the bloodline unless we say that, but you leave the bloodline, he said, okay. Like, that's at least 3 times they changed the whole character before our eyes, and now they finally found something where he's in the bloodline, but now he's trying to kind of snake his way to the top, to the hierarchy. So I like that what they did this week. If they can continue on this path, maybe they can get back to the quality that we are. But I get upset a little bit because I don't feel like a lot of people are acknowledging the fact that it's just not as good as it was 3 months ago.
Yeah, well, Roman's been off. Everyone,
I don't even think it's as good as like after WrestleMania. Like, even after WrestleMania, when they were still feuding with Kevin Owens and Matt Riddle,
Roman was off TV for months after WrestleMania too.
Yeah, I'm saying right now it's even not as good as that. like that's what I'm saying. Is that the last time Roman wasn't here, that was better than this. because
Okay,
at
but
least they
are you
knew
factoring?
who the characters were, and they were logically making sense with everybody's character. Right now, they haven't been doing that with Jimmy Uso's character, with Solo's character. Solo doesn't feel as hot as he did like around like 3-4 months ago. And like the Jey Uso, the best thing that happened to him is separating himself from all of this because he's actually in a compelling storyline, and it's actually putting a bigger spotlight on the fact that nothing compelling is going on SmackDown until this week with Jimmy.
We know what's gonna happen. Roman's gonna return. He's gonna cut a promo that ties all of this together, and people are gonna do the cinema and be like, "Oh, look, he pointed out this and that and did this and that." It's people are gonna love it. They're gonna love it all once Roman comes back. They are in a little bit of a holding pattern. I do think they course corrected a little bit on Friday with Jimmy trying to again punch above his weight and act like he is the tribal chief deal. You know, once Roman comes back, I don't know when that's going to be. Cena's got his run. Like Cena's got his run with he's there, LA Knight's there. I think Fastlane can be a little telling because do Solo and Jimmy win? It's like, oh, Bloodline might be okay. Does LA Knight win and LA Knight get projected as a higher an actual title contender? Does LA Knight get the Saudi match against Roman? Cena is allegedly he's advertised for the Saudi show. So what's Cena doing at Saudi? Did they do Cena and LA Knight because they lose? And then LA Knight is like, "What are you coming back here for? You cost us this match." So they do that program. Then what's Roman do? I think they got some options with this, but depending on who wins or loses at Fastlane is will really set those up. And I think it's a better story if the Bloodline actually wins that match because it feels like they always seem to lose when Roman is not around. And then Roman comes back, he's disappointed. He's like, "Look, nobody can do anything right without me." I feel like I've seen that. Jimmy
Yep.
actually like winning and kind of proving that he can do this a little bit feels like something different with this story that's now been going on for 5 years.
Yeah, that would actually be something, a little bit different because that's what I felt like with the last couple of weeks. Like I said, when they've been changing kind of the direction of the character of Jim, they had a few weeks of Jimmy Uso trying to prove himself to the bloodline. I was just like, no, we did this. We did this 2 years ago. We did this when Jimmy Uso was injured and came back. No, we did this storyline. Like I was like very confused. And I was also confused at the fact I was like, Jimmy was the one that turned on the bloodline in the first place. Like, and I was like, and then I listened to his theme song, and that made me confused. I was like, there's one line in the theme song that said, they said family first. I put that in the past. You're standing right next to your brother. You haven't put it in the past. It's right next to you. You're actually in the present with your family first. You're putting family first. But yeah, I think they have a good direction after this week. Hopefully they can go on that. I do agree with you. Jimmy proving himself and getting a big win is very necessary for his character because it just seems like his character is a big loser who's just trying to manipulate things because Roman's gone. And when Roman comes back, he's going to be subservient to Roman again.
When he got shoved by AJ Styles his first night back, I was like, "Oh, look at this dork. Why do I care about Jimmy Uso? He's coming back. He's all excited, everything." And then AJ just shoves him and punks him out. I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, I don't need to take this guy serious at
And
all."
I don't even think that was the worst part. The worst part for me was Solo saying, "You leave the bloodline when we say you leave the bloodline," and then he helped him win. I was like, he just said, "Yeah, okay, yeah, I don't leave the bloodline." I was like,
Yeah,
what?
it's like, "Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm not leaving. Yeah, I'm here. I'm with you. Down since day one ish type of thing." Uh, we'll see where they go. Getting LA Knight back hopefully this week and actually piecing together that tag team match and then what they do in the actual tag team match. I think the two most compelling things are you elevate LA Knight and give him the victory. And so then you set up Roman and LA Knight, which people I assume want and people will be very excited for. Oh, you
I'll,
seem
I'll, I'll be that guy. I don't want to.
why are you a hater?
No, it's because I'm sorry, folks. We already have a holy trinity of super over baby faces that face Roman Reigns and are not quite as over as they were before they faced Roman Reigns. Drew McIntyre at Clash at the Castle, Sami Zayn at Elimination Chamber, Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 39. Cody Rhodes is probably the only one you can argue like, oh no, he's just as old. He still gets loud cheers.
Cody's still pretty over.
Yeah, he's still pretty over, but is he quite as over as he was before WrestleMania?
Okay, well,
I think that's a debate. Everybody else you can't argue. You can't argue with Drew. You can't argue with Sammy. Do we really want to add a Mount Rushmore of this and add LA Knight to this?
Here is my argument for LA Knight. Okay, here's my argument for LA Knight. I'm gonna be bootlicking here. I don't have a boot around. I'll be bootlicking here though. Drew was over because he was working with Roman in that match, right? What was Drew doing before Roman? It wasn't really that over.
He was working.
He got over. Yeah, he got over because he was working with Roman there. And then he stopped working with Roman. He did the stuff with he was off television from Mania to Money in the Bank anyway. So yeah, he took a downturn because after working with Roman, because you're working in the main event. You honestly should be more over working in the main event. Drew is at least
let's not bypass the fact that his follow-up feud after facing Roman Reigns in the main event at Clash at the Castle in front of 70,000. First of all, he sang after losing.
Yeah, that wasn't Roman's fault.
And then feuded with Karrion Kross. So what I'm saying is also that the booking does not help these people after they lose to Roman Reigns either.
Yeah, well, that's not Roman's fault that happens. I'm totally with you on that. Sammy getting elevated, working with Roman, and the Bloodline did great on that. Won the tag team titles. Then what happened? Disjointed tag team stuff. Got re-elevated working with Roman again and Bloodline and Solo going into Night of Champions or whatever I think it ended up being Night of Champions. Going into Night of Champions. But then mismatched stuff. Worked with the Judgment Day. Did good with the Judgment Day. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. They got the rematch tonight on Raw.
But they just dragged that out so much that he's just not as over as he was after even WrestleMania, right after the Elimination Chamber match. He was still as over after WrestleMania. He was still
working with Bloodline.
Yeah, he was still as over. It's like once he stopped working with the Bloodline, he stopped being as over as he was.
Okay, but this isn't Roman's fault. This is the booking's fault of, hey, maybe you can keep giving him good stuff to work with. The Bloodline's doing their job. Bloodline's doing their job of elevating everybody and getting them more over. And then
don't get me wrong. What I'm saying, I'm not saying any of this is Roman's fault. I'm just saying this is the state of what we're at. Of we have to ask these questions when we have a super over babyface like LA Knight. Should we go through the proper kind of steps? Because I feel like there is like that LA Knight fan base that want to have this match with Roman Reigns. But I feel like WWE is never going to commit to LA Knight as a main eventer unless he has one of two things or both: a great match, a great memorable match, or a mid-card title. Look at every main eventer in like WWE history pretty much has had one or the other before they were viewed as a main eventer consistently. Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, go back to Stone Cold Steve Austin, the match with Bret Hart. He had to have that at WrestleMania 13 or he wasn't winning at WrestleMania 14. Like the only other person outside of that, the only two people in the last 50 years that didn't have one or the other before they were booked as a consistent main eventer in WWE is Hulk Hogan and Roman Reigns. I don't think LA Knight is going to join that list.
Why can't Roman Reigns be the great match? Like, that is the big epic match. I don't know how good this match is going to be. I'm not super high on LA Knight's ring work. He's a fine WWE wrestler. Like, that's what he is. He's not going to put on like your 5-star classic type of thing. That's just not who he is in the ring. Here's the thing LA Knight has going for him, though. He's over before the Roman stuff. You talk about Drew, he was more legacy over because he's just done everything. He's a former world champion. Sammy, he got the jackass stuff over, but that thing was deemed relatively unimportant. And Sammy just did a lot of legwork and he got the celebrity match. But before doing stuff with Roman, very hot and cold on what he was actually doing. LA Knight actually over before the Roman stuff, kind of similar to Cody, and that him working the return is why Cody was over. But dating back to really is all of his AEW stuff, Cody was over. LA Knight got over on the Bray Wyatt stuff, which everyone except for me said that it wasn't good and it wasn't good for
Not
his
except for
career.
you. I loved it. And over on the SmackDown review, Dutch Mantel loved it. Rick Ucchino loved like there was a lot of people I felt like that really enjoyed LA Knight. And even if you weren't a Bray Wyatt fan, they thought that LA Knight was the highlight of that whole feud.
Okay.
I think that you're kind of clouding the fact that people dumped on the Pitch Black match. Yes, that was bad.
No,
And that deserved to be dumped on. I don't think
no.
people were dumping on the week to week stuff though between them.
I think they were. I think a
Ah,
lot of people were. And then yeah, the match people certainly didn't
yeah.
like. Regardless, he came out of that just fine. Moreover, out of that. And now if he goes into a program with Roman, then that will hopefully elevate him. That'll hopefully elevate him and he will stay over. We will see.
I want the guy. I want to see a guy who faces Roman Reigns, who is a hot baby face, and stays as over as he did, even though he's losing to Roman Reigns. I don't think that's
LA Knight could
possible.
be a litmus test for that.
Yeah, I don't. But I at this point, there's been so many examples of it. I don't think it's possible anymore.
We'll get back to this. We'll get back to this discussion because we are joined now. If he is ready in the backstage area, give me a thumbs up. That way, that's the old Joel Pearl bit. There we go. All right, we're joined now by the new Black Label Pro Heavyweight Champion, the winner of Black Label Pro Turbo Graps 24, one half of Violence is Forever. Kevin Ku is here. How you doing, Kevin?
Hello, good morning.
Morning. Thank you for joining us this morning. How you feeling after this weekend?
I'm rested now, but I was pretty beat up and tired yesterday morning and all day. So
what's it like working basically a tournament environment, and not only a tournament, but this is a 1 day tournament. I know there was the show in the morning and then the show in the evening, but you did all these matches. There's 4 matches in 1 day.
yeah, it's pretty hard because like I'm obviously pretty used to doing tag team wrestling. So I have Dom to kind of lean on if I like need help or get tired, but doing 4 singles matches in 1 day with only like I don't know, like an hour rest time between all of like the first match and then the next 3 matches is really rough. But that's kind of like what I prepare for now. Like I prepare for long matches or like a lot of matches at once, just in case that type of stuff happens, or like I need to wrestle for a very long time. Luckily, that doesn't happen a lot, but it's better just to stay prepared than have to, be in that situation where you get blown up or too tired, which I was pretty early on.
You had to face Dominic in the first round. That seems a little unfair that they book you against your tag team partner, who is a guy I would imagine we've spoken before, and we've spoken to Dominic as well. Imagine you guys are gonna hit each other a little bit harder, just knowing things are good between you. Or maybe I'm wrong, and maybe it's like, you know what, we got a lot of matches coming up after this. Let's work it. Let's not go out there and hit each other quite as hard.
I mean, yeah, to go from Matt Mikowski to Dom was kind of hard. I mean, in a sense, it wasn't because they're kind of like a bit of the same where they hit rather hard each, and they have kind of like similar styles. But I know Dom a lot better, obviously. So like going into it, I considered maybe like going a little bit easy because he is my friend, but then that's not really how me or him work. We don't really have any like off days or periods where we need to take things easy. Like any opportunity we have, we just kind of go as hard as we can because you never know what's going to be the last one or like who's watching what. So
I wanted to ask, like, y'all, the big transition going from, such a known tag team specialist to winning, this singles tournament, 4 matches in 1 day. Kind of what's the kind of the biggest challenge and the biggest difference for you being in a tag team match in comparison to a singles match?
Figuring out tag team matches is a lot different than singles matches because you have to worry about 2 to 3 other people in the ring, especially like modernized tag team matches where like there's sometimes there's everyone in the ring at once, or like people streaming in and out, which like, you know, a lot of people hate that, but I think that it makes it more interesting. And like, I'm very much in the camp of I'm trying to have the crowd have fun than impress someone that has some outdated view of professional wrestling in 2023, almost 2024. So like, if that's what the crowd that you're playing to is having fun to, then by all means do that. Like, who cares? But sorry, that was a tangent I had to go off on. It's really hard to try to figure out to like go from tag team matches to singles matches, back and forth. But then just to do tag team matches to 4 singles matches in a row, it's like, shit, I really have to like recalibrate my brain to like, what do I do? Because there's like certain things that I do now that are like predicated on like Dom coming in, us doing a tag team move or something like that, or like doing it at the same time. So like, I have to be like, oh wait, I can't do this without someone there now. So like, it looks a bit weird if I just do one part of the move and I'm like waiting for the next part. I'm like, oh shit, okay, well, I have to figure other things out.
Gotta ask about the FTR match. Last time we spoke, you know, we had the big call outs at Beyond last year. FTR is
Yeah.
doing the open challenge. We spoke when we spoke about it, you're like, I don't know if Tony Khan knows us, if that's a thing. Like he knows you guys. You've been on Collision, you've been on ROH TV. When are we getting this? We saw him against the Workhorsemen. When are we getting this, Kevin?
Hopefully sometime soon. If not by the end of the year next year. Me and Dom made points after we were done with like Collision or ROH things that we did to like introduce ourselves to Tony. So like, he physically knows we are human beings on this earth, because he's an extremely busy person. And I know that like the man doesn't have enough time in the day to like watch some small indie show or like know everything in the world. Like, I saw something where he works like 80 hours in a week or something like that. I'm like, that's absolutely insane. But I believe it because he has to deal with all his pro sports teams and then like 4 shows between wrestling TV and then like trying to still be a fan. Like, it's insane. I can't imagine how tired he is at all times. But yeah, I hope it happens. Like, we're trying our best just to like put our best foot forward in every single match we have, be it singles or tag match, just so like there's no like doubt when it happens that we should be in that spot. And that I don't want it to be like, oh, why is this random tag team that's not even signed to AEW getting this opportunity? I want people to be like, yeah, this is a really cool thing. Like, these are our guys that we've watched for a very long time and that have worked their asses off for this opportunity.
When FTR did the open challenge, that was obviously the first match I thought of. I was very happy to see Workhorsemen get the spot this past weekend. That was a great match. And then Gates of Agony, who I've become a big fan of, or not get Iron Savages. Sorry, yeah, Iron Savages. Get that opportunity as well. I was like, okay, those are 2 teams signed to AEW ROH. Like, we need to get a team that can get over, and then hopefully you guys do get contracts out of it.
Yeah.
We need this match. It's been teased for so long. I need it. That's all I need.
I'm sure it's a little bit hard now, like, because they're so hyper focused on WrestleDream next week to like even think about anything else coming up after that. So like, who even knows if they're going to continue doing that? Because, you know, what if Aussie Open, when the title's there, like, who knows if they're going to continue that? Like, which I hope the best for them, Mark Davis and Kyle Fletcher, because I love those two. Like, me and Dom credit them a lot, along with Warhorseman, like teaching us very early on in our tag team careers, like what to do with tag wrestling, how to like make ourselves stand out. So to like see the work, like, and Iron Savages actually, like when they were Bear Country, we wrestled them a lot in like 2019. I loved wrestling them. So like to see those 3 back to back wrestle FTR is like makes me like my heart very happy, because I get to see all of my friends get really cool opportunities on the like bigger stage that like all of them truly deserve. And of course I want that opportunity, and like Don wants that opportunity, but to it's really, really cool to see all our friends get that too.
I gotta highlight one of your matches from Black Label Pro because I've been seeing the highlight everywhere of the triple threat you had with Eli Isom and Tom Lawler, because now you're the Black Label Pro champion and you basically beat two guys in a triple threat. Are you the head of the table of Black Label Pro now?
Yeah, I would say so. Like,
you stacked two guys basically.
In one day I wrestled and beat Dominic Guarini, Tom Lawler, Eli Isom, Young Jay Lee, and Cole Radler. Like, that's a gauntlet of crazy, like, current independents. We're doing a lot of cool stuff, and I pride myself on that. And like, I don't know if it was on air, but after the match with Cole happened, I said that I've been with Black Label Pro since pretty much day one. Like, my first show with them was the Darkest Timeline Part 2. That was like their second show. And it was they were the first people who had me on a show after I came back from the injury. So like, I don't know if I necessarily owe them a lot, but I have a lot of love and appreciation for a lot of things they've done for me and Dom. They're like the first people to really give me and Dom a run as a tag team, like let us do what we wanted to do. So I have a lot of pride with Black Label Pro, and I hope that I can be the one to really bring a lot more eyes on it.
You mentioned your action history with Aussie Open. For those that do not know, it was Aussie Open that got you and Dom to change the sad comp name to now Violence is Forever. So yeah, we do need to. I know you guys wrestled last Progress.
Yeah, we wrestled them October or September, end of September last year in Progress, and before that it was 2019 and beyond, right after WrestleMania weekend.
There you go. But hey, we can run this back in 2023. Maybe Aussie Open will do the Open Challenge if they do win the titles, and we can do that. Another team you did wrestle, that was a dream match for you guys. That you and Dom said, Motor City Machine Guns, that happened recently at DPW. What was that match like, and how you feeling after that?
It was pretty insane. Like, me and Dom grew up watching ROH early TNA, which like was more or less an offshoot of ROH because they brought all their guys over there for a really big TV experience. So like, and I've been on shows with Alex Shelley since he started coming back, and now that he's a full-time wrestler again, like so many shows with him, and I've never wrestled him singles, tag match, anything like that. So to like be able, my first match, to be able to wrestle him and Saban at once, like, okay, this is quite crazy. For a company like DPW, who like I've been there since the first show, like it really meant a lot to me and Dom. Like we put a lot of stake into DPW and to try to like build them up, and like not that we've really done anything ourselves. Like they do all the work, and like the crazy people they bring in, and their fan base is awesome. But like just to have that moment with Motor City Machine Guns and my best friend next to me was really cool. And like the tag match is just so much fun, and like to work a tag team that have literally done everything, like worked every single company, won championships everywhere they've gone. It's just like truly crazy. It's really hard for me to like sit back and process that type of stuff, because I have to like put it in my notes, like goals, and like tick them off just to like really realize that I've done these things, or it's hard for me to like think about them because I'm so hyper focused on the next thing.
I thought you had something, SP3.
Oh no, I'm sorry. My daughter was in the room yelling, so
Oh.
I actually have myself muted.
Oh, okay. When it comes to the single stuff and then working on Collision, I know you said you introduced yourself to Tony to make sure he knows that you are a human being and everything. It was a short match against Powerhouse Hobbs, but being in the ring with him, what was that experience like? And then taking the power of Powerhouse Hobbs.
Man, he's crazy strong. He like I don't feel like a child in people's arms most of the time, just because like I'm not that massive by any means, but I'm over 200 pounds, so like there's not a lot of people who can like really throw me around with ease. But like he was a big boy. He's wide as hell and so strong. But like probably one of like the nicest people I've ever met anywhere. He just really, I can really tell that he cares about what he does and he believes in what he does. So like that's super cool. Obviously, it didn't go my way because how damn big he is. But just like he kept putting into me that of like, this is TV. Like you're on national TV right now. Like he really tried to like every time I walk by him, he like really let that sink into me. Like, damn, that's crazy. I I was on national TV and like there were people in the crowd that like knew me. And like I think that took him aback too, right before the match started. Like there were people chanting my name and he was like, oh shit, that's crazy. I was like, yeah, that's real crazy.
Nah, that's a dope experience. And, you know, you've been in the ring with Powerhouse Hobbs. You talk about wanting a matchup with FTR, and you've faced pretty much every top tag team that's out there that we talked about here. Aussie Open, Motor City Machine Guns. Who's on your list, whether it be singles or tag team, of the people you want to be in the ring with next?
Oh man, quite honestly, the only reason I can remember this is because they recently just got released, but it's Grizzly Young Vets. They just got released, and like I don't know if they have a 90-day compete clause or whatever, but we've made it very apparent to every like promotion that we work for that like asks us who we want to wrestle, like them. They are at the top of the list right now. Like before they got signed, they were like the most interesting tag team to me because they did things not necessarily different, but I think they did things kind of like FTR does, but in a more modern spin. Because Zach Gibson is very much like he's very much like an old school like kind of TV wrestler, but then James Drake is a very like modernized independent wrestler. So their styles mesh really cool. So I think that would be a really cool match.
I don't know if they have a 90-day compete clause, by the way, because I think that's a contract expiration from them and not a release. So I don't, yeah, I know their contracts were coming up. I don't think they were like part of a releases. So you might be able to get that match sooner than later.
That would be a really crazy end to the year if that happened. we're actually waiting on like a couple of things to see if they are confirmed or not for the end of the year. So like if that happens and then the GYD match happens, like I don't really know like how to process my year if that happens.
We won't spoil anything, but it sounds like got some big things in the works when it comes to matches. I'm gonna move away from wrestling here for a second. You were recently at Disney and took a bunch of photos there. Favorite rides? Any rides that you can bury and like, nope, that didn't live up to expectations. How was your experience at Disney?
I've been to Disneyland before, but I haven't been during Halloween time in a while. So like my birthday was like, it was my birthday trip, but it was like my birthday was about 2 weeks before, but the Halloween stuff hadn't happened yet. So I specifically wanted to go for that. And the first thing I rode was the Haunted Mansion theme. So like I always love that because that's my favorite ride. And it's just so cool. Like I don't really care about Nightmare Before Christmas, but it's just really cool to see how they do it on the ride. And they're apparently adding more stuff because of the movie that just came out. Like in the ride, they added the Hatbox Ghost, which is like when we rode by, we were just yelling, "That's Jared Leto!" Even though you can't tell it's Jared Leto in the movie. So that was cool. Rides that I didn't care for. It's really hard because I go to Disney as like kind of a different person. Like I go with a very open mind where I just kind of enjoy everything. And like I usually hate kids, but I'm like, yeah, this is whatever. Like they're probably miserable because they want to go to sleep and their parents are dragging them around for something they'll never remember. But let's see. You know, a ride that I'm kind of over that I've ridden a couple of times at Disneyland and World is Smuggler's Run, the Millennium Falcon run or ride. It's like it's cool the first time, but then afterwards it's really predicated on who you have with you. So like if you're in a group of 4 and you happen to get all 4 on the ride, cool. But if you're in a group of like 1 or 2 or 3 and you have other people on the ride that like just don't care or like aren't paying attention, then it's like you're just sitting there watching a screen, so it kind of sucks. So like I just completely skipped that ride altogether. I was was like, I'm not even gonna mess with this. And it was like, I think it was like a 30-minute wait. Every time I walked by, I was like, that's not even worth it. And then at one point it went down to 10 minutes. I'm like, yeah, I don't care. Oh, and I got to ride the Cars ride during Halloween too. So like that whole land is themed for Halloween. So that's really sick.
So we're gonna clickbait headline: Kevin Ku buries Star Wars on this.
No,
and then,
not Star Wars specifically, but
just the Millennium Falcon. That you got heat with Han Solo.
Yeah, it's a hunk of junk. So
Cody's gonna be very mad. He's a big Star Wars fan. He's gonna be very mad about all of this. He'll message you.
I'll talk to him about the Asuka series. So
there you go.
I don't know anything about Star Wars outside of just the original, whatever the original movies are, and then the new movies. But what Boba Fett, that whole series, that just Mandalorian.
Mandalorian, that's my jam.
Honestly, if you really enjoyed the first 3 movies, you would like all the like Disney Plus series that they came out with, because there are a lot of like, it happens in between. Some of them happen like right before episode 4, and then some of them will happen afterwards. The Ahsoka series is probably like the best thing they've come out with since, I don't fucking know, ever. If you ever watch, like, I really, during the pandemic, I got really into the Clone Wars series and the Rebel series, just because I had nothing else to do. And the Ahsoka show is like the live action version of it. So it's like really cool to see like Dave Filoni's vision of like what Star Wars can be now. There's a lot of really cool nerd shit in there. But if you like, you obviously you don't have to know anything about like all of the new movies that came out recently, because they're pretty much right on your nose.
Yeah. I've heard all these shows are good. It's just, one, I don't feel like I have a lot of time. I watch too much sports and trash reality television. I gotta watch Temptation Island and stuff, Kevin. That's where the drama is, not the Star Wars.
I get it. So. I get
it. Kevin, we appreciate you joining us today, man. Let everybody know where they can find you at and what you got coming up.
Kevin X Ku on Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. That all that stuff. I have kind of a break, which is nice because my body hurts a lot. But my next shows, I have Time Bomb Pro in Fargo, North Dakota, October 12th, and then GCW in LA on the 14th, and then DPW in New Jersey on the 15th. So I have a very long weekend that coming up.
Well, best of luck with that. One last question. I saw you retweet this. What are your thoughts on neck health?
Oh, so important. So important. Mike Bennett and Matt Taven and Rod Strong are doing wonders for neck health. Neck health strong all over the world. People need to know. I'll be supporting, getting the shirts, getting those stupid little wristbands that were really popular in the early 2000s. All that stuff.
All of Lance Armstrong's fault. Yes. All his fault with those wristbands. Kevin, thank you again for joining us, man. We appreciate it. Heal up. Congratulations on Black Label Pro winning the title this weekend. Anytime I can watch somebody beat up Cole Radrick, I'm a happy person. So thank you for that. Kevin, thank you, man. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks, man.
Take care.
Kevin Ku, everybody, the new Black Label Pro heavyweight champion, the winner of BLP Turbo Graps 24. Good to talk to him. We had him on Spotlight not too long ago, and Joel Pearl messaged me on Friday. He's like, "Should we get the winner of the Turbo Graps tournament on Monday?" And I was like, "I really don't want to talk to Cole Radrick again. Like, we literally just had him on, so like we'll see." And then when Kevin won, I was like, "All right, we can." I'll message Kevin, see what's up. So appreciate him joining us after his busy Saturday. I don't know if he wrestled yesterday. It didn't say that he did, but Cage Match doesn't have everything up to date.
Well, he said he was rested, so maybe he had the day off, and that's why he feels rested this morning.
Right, he wrestled 4 times on Saturday.
So he needed a day. He needed a day.
Deserves a time off. Again, shout out to Kevin Ku. Appreciate him joining us. We got to get this Violence is Forever against FTR match. Jensen and I are pushing so hard for this, pushing so hard. So we shall see if that comes to fruition.
It's not a real open challenge until someone from the indies comes up.
See, this is what I'm saying. They do this open challenge again. I'm glad that Iron Savages, my guy, Bear in Boulder, they ass eating. We love Jack Jameson around here. And Workhorsemen deserve that as well. But they are kind of AEW ROH talents. We do need an independent tag team coming in. Guarini and Ku have been on AEW and ROH television. Let's get it. Like we need this match. We need it. And they got history with Aussie Open as well, as we kind of mentioned. They used to be Sad Comp, and they changed it because Aussie Open was like, I don't know about this. And they're like, yeah, maybe you're right. So they changed their names.
That was smart. But yes, I think yeah, you're definitely right, and we should definitely give flowers to the Workhorsemen because they maximized their minutes. That was one of the best sub 5 minute tag team matches I think I've ever seen. That was really good.
I think everybody knew the match was going to be great. I mean, you saw on our circle of Twitter of like when the match was announced, everyone was super excited about it because they know how good Workhorseman is. They know how good Anthony Henry and JD Drake are. But you had look, the fans literally chanted last week, "Who are you?" to the Workhorsemen. They are a tag team that if you don't watch ROH, you might not know who they are. JD Drake, the only thing you really might remember of him was the group with Peter Avalon and stuff. That was about the only time he was on
Bench
TV.
Warmers or something like that, or
no, it wasn't Bench Warmers.
I know it wasn't. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I forget their name. Someone in the chat will have it. But yeah, that might be the only thing you know of JD Drake and like the Wingmen. There you go. Why Soul Blade has it.
Don't worry, it's gonna be the Nemeth Wingmen coming back. It's gonna be the Nemeth Wingmen.
Oh boy, we shall see what happens there. But yeah, that might be all you know of JD Drake and Anthony Henry is them just losing to all the time when it comes to that.
So I think he's only had 2 Dynamite matches before Collision. And one of them was him losing to Darby. I remember that. That was a part of Darby's first reign of the TNT title.
Right. And this was a while ago, too. So I'm not saying the fans were wrong for chanting, "Who are you?" Because I do imagine, and this is the argument I kind of had on Friday's show when everyone talks about the hardcore fan base of AEW, and it's like, well, it's all hardcore fans and stuff. And like, no, it's not. The hardcore fans are certainly the ones buying the pay-per-view, but there are 800,000 to 1 million people watching Dynamite every week, and all those people aren't buying the pay-per-view. I imagine, like, look, 100,000 or so do buy the pay-per-view, and I imagine others watch it through other means, but it's still a very big percentage who are not buying the pay-per-view and stuff. So as excited as the hardcore fans were for Workhorsemen against FTR, they got the "Who are you?" chants for a reason. It's because they hadn't been on television. And like they went out there and they did exactly what we all thought they were going to do. And they had a great match for as many times or for as long as they got in that match. And it wasn't super long, but they still got the they still got they made the most of those minutes, and they made the most. They turned into a nice little tag team sprint and everything. And I think everyone benefited from that. Now, of course, do the Workhorsemen do anything after this? We shall see. Because, okay, they got a little over, but if they're just going to go back to just being on ROH, then I don't know if that benefits too much. If they're going to be on ROH and they're going to be presented as a top ROH act, fine. Right now, ROH bleeds so much into AEW that I don't know who the top acts are in ROH. They're all ROH.
It's MJF, Adam Cole, the Elite, Samoa Joe. Those are the top acts. I mean, yeah, they have to have a good follow-up. It's always the follow-up with this type of stuff. And sometimes with AEW, the follow-up doesn't come till months after, like sometimes with how they work.
I'm still waiting on Action Andretti's follow-up.
Yeah, exactly. One of the best debuts they ever did, and then they followed it up with him being only on Rampage for months. But But yeah, it all depends on the follow-up. I think a logical follow-up for someone who is getting TV time, so we can at least see them. I don't know if they're going to get a lot of matches, but if they're getting TV time and you already had that connection that you built on Ring of Honor, it just makes sense as a follow-up. You have the Workhorsemen join Shane Taylor Promotions. I know that's not what Shane Taylor Promotions was before Tony Khan got his hands on it, but he already had Shane Taylor hanging out with the Workhorsemen, doing trios matches for months. Shane Taylor's in this feud with Keith Lee that I'm hoping we get the Keith Lee Shane Taylor match on a pay-per-view and not just on an episode of Collision. To prevent that, we put more people in Shane Taylor Promotions and Workhorsemen fits the bill. I would be down for Keith Lee having singles matches with Anthony Henry and JD Drake before he has a pay-per-view match with Shane Taylor.
Put that stuff on ROH. Like, and I'm not saying that as a negative. I'm honestly not. And maybe my tone made it come across as I was saying that as a negative. I'm not. I'm saying that is like, that is a good selling point for ROH. I don't think there's enough selling points for ROH right now because so much of it just bleeds with AEW. Like ROH has got a pay-per-view, I assume, at the end of the year. Like they still got a while to build it, but the build for the last ROH pay-per-view, which was a good show, was almost non-existent. They didn't have matches until the week of. It's like, what is going to be on this show?
And I think that a lot of people don't take into account that my biggest complaint about Tony Khan and the booking is that it seems like when something goes wrong, he doesn't have like a good plan B, or even sometimes a plan B plan, it seems, from the perception, third party looking, from the outside looking in. And Death Before Dishonor is another example of that, where there was a lot of injuries. His original plan was to do the Mark Briscoe beating Samoa Joe for the Ring of Honor World Television title. That match got completely scrapped because Mark Briscoe got injured. Well, first it was because Samoa Joe was still dealing with promoting Twisted Metal before the writer's strike, so they did not think he was going to be on that show. Then they said, okay, we're going to do Mark Briscoe versus Claudio Castagnoli. Then Mark Briscoe gets injured, so then they didn't have a Ring of Honor World Championship match, no Ring of Honor World Television matchup. When injuries happen out of nowhere, I don't think Tony knows how to pivot or adjust as quickly as he should at this point.
In some cases, he adjusts okay, but this is also the issue when you don't have your ROH champion on television really doing anything. I know he wrestled. He wrestled Rocky. Well, he's not the champion anymore, but he had the one off against Rocky. But like Athena is someone, and I'll continue to harp on this. And I feel bad that I say this like every single show at this point. Athena feels special in ROH. Should she be in AEW? Yes, she's good enough for AEW.
100%.
But she feels special for ROH because she's only in ROH. Like there is no, hey, let's go to AEW and do a bunch of other stuff that feels more important than what you're doing in ROH, because that's how it felt with Claudio. That's certainly how it feels with MJF and Cole. They're the tag team champions. It's like, okay, what do they do in ROH? Oh, the Righteous have a shot.
The ROH tag team titles is probably if I was a lawyer, would be exhibit A of the point I was just making. Like what people don't realize, since Jay Briscoe passed away, God bless his soul, Tony Khan has not known what to do with the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles. He had a plan for this year ahead of time of Lucha Bros versus Briscoes being the centerpiece of the tag team division, and he has not pivoted or adjusted since. He put the title on the Lucha Bros. They didn't show up on Ring of Honor television together ever. Then they lost the titles to Aussie Open. Aussie Open was at least on Ring of Honor and AEW defending the Ring of Honor tag team titles and could have had a good reign, but Better Than You, Baby was a pivot for him. Because I don't think he was expecting them to be together this long. I don't think that was a pivot for him. He wanted to put the titles on them. He did that. But I don't think anyone has the faintest possibility of MJF or Adam Cole showing up on Ring of Honor television. So really what I think he's doing right now with them as the tag team champions, Eddie Kingston as Ring of Honor World Champion, the Elite as the 6-man champion, Samoa Joe as TV champion, and Athena as women's champion. This is the best possible time for Tony Khan to go to Warner Brothers Discovery and say, Ring of Honor, here it is. All of our top stars have Ring of Honor titles. I think that's what he's doing. It's basically AEW's answer to what WWE's doing right now with NXT, putting Becky Lynch on there, that's what they're doing that to help their media rights deal. AEW is doing this with Ring of Honor to even get Ring of Honor a part of their media rights deal.
I understand this argument. I think it sucks. I think it's stupid because this is what everyone said of why Jericho won the title, right? Oh, Jericho is the champion, so they can get that on the AEW, or they can get ROH on TV. And then no one bought into ROH on TV. They ended up on Honor Club after all of that. And they had Jericho as the champion. That was the whole reason for Jericho to be the champion. And so now, okay, you're going to put all these titles on these AEW guys. Oh, so we can get on television. We can get them on television. There's no indication that Warner Brothers wants ROH on TV. There's none. There's already enough wrestling on TV, by the way. They gave them a second AEW show with Collision. They already got 3 shows. Oh, wait, we're just going to put ROH on TV now, a taped show?
No, I don't think it's going to be on TV. I think they're going to probably pitch this for the new the live sports thing on Max.
I don't think you need, okay, if it's a live sport though, then so you're adding ROH TV to a live sport, and then you're asking these AEW people. The AEW schedule becomes more brutal than the WWE schedule at that point.
No, I don't think it's gonna be live. I think they're gonna stretch that live. This is the first time we're putting the episode on live. Like how you put a video on YouTube and you make it live after it's already been recorded. I think that's what they made by
sure
live.
But if you're just on the streaming platform at that point, then that just comes down to, why does Max care who the champions are? We're on the streaming platform. We have all the rights and everything. It's live. But if it's still a taped show, I don't feel like a whole lot changes in that aspect. So no, I
think it's at least an attempt, and I think that the best possible scenario, because I do agree with a lot of the points you're making. I think the best possible scenario for this attempt, because I think it's pretty clear that's what he's going for, is to make Ring of Honor attractive to Warner Brothers Discovery, is getting the Ring of Honor pay-per-views on Max. And I think that if they're going to the 12 pay-per-view a year model, I would hope that 3 of the pay-per-views are Ring of Honor pay-per-views, because I don't know if I have too much faith in Tony Khan building properly for 12 AEW pay-per-views.
I don't have faith in him building properly if they're partially Ring of Honor pay-per-views with AEW stars. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me either, because then we get stuff like, oh, here's MJF and Adam Cole against the Righteous. Is this on an AEW pay-per-view? Is this on an ROH pay-per-view? I don't know.
That does not need to be on WrestleDream. Like, if you're gonna do these Ring of Honor tag team title matches with Better Than You Baby, you literally have given us Dark Order and now the Righteous, when the Kingdom is the only tag team you have properly built up, and it's getting over with people. Dark Order have not been over with people in a while, since they were over back in 2020, 2021. Righteous, you just introduced them like last week by them beating the Hardys. Like, you couldn't build them up a little bit more before you gave them a Ring of Honor World Team title shot? And I feel like this is all because they want to do Kingdom versus Better Than You Baby at Final Battle. And it's just like, no, that's the match to do on the AEW pay-per-view, and the Righteous is the match to do on the ROH pay-per-view.
Maybe. Now, I understand them wanting to stretch the Kingdom match to Final Battle. The problem is, I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of faith that they're going to stretch this in a good way. And that's why we're getting almost throwaway matches against Dark Order and against the Righteous. But MJF is also your world champion, so he's got to book his own stuff when it comes to, I agree with Jeff Fellow Driver. I think that the Kingdom is the selling point. If you're trying to sell an ROH pay-per-view, the Kingdom's got to be there over the Righteous. You can heat up the
MJF
Righteous.
and Cole being on the Ring of Honor pay-per-view, it does not matter who their opponents are. That's a draw.
It does. No, it does.
It
It does if you actually want to sell the pay-per-view. doesn't.
I am telling you because I talked to many casual AEW fans. They are more interested in just Adam Cole and MJF being on an ROH pay-per-view. It does not matter there, but it being
Are they going to buy at the ROH pay-per-view?
Yeah, for MJF
They're
and Adam
interested.
Cole. Because they're interested
Did they
in
say they're
MJF and Adam
buying it?
Cole. Yeah. For MJF and Adam Cole. It does not matter who their opponent is. That's what I'm telling you.
Okay, here's my argument. Here's my argument though. It does not matter who their opponent is at WrestleDream because you can put MJF Adam Cole against the Kingdom, or you can put him against the Righteous. That match, honestly, the place on the card, even though they've done some good stuff with the Kingdom, place on the card ain't that high. That ain't the selling point of this show. The dream matches is the selling point of this show. So you just do the Righteous.
It would be one of the top matches with the Kingdom because that's a part of the Roderick Strong storyline.
I
that's
don't think
more
people
a part
see
of this whole Better Than You Baby storyline more than the Righteous.
I don't see the Kingdom as that act. I don't see fans buying that act in that way to where they're like, oh, can't wait to see this MJF Adam Cole against the Kingdom match. Like, I don't see it. Maybe I'm wrong, but it doesn't scream big time match for an AEW pay-per-view to me. I mean, it doesn't scream, big time match for even. It does for an ROH pay-per-view. I'll be fair to it. Like for an ROH pay-per-view,
that would be one of the main events. So
okay, well that's why you want to sell that instead of the Righteous.
But I'm saying it would be one of the top matches on this pay-per-view if you put it on this pay-per-view because the storyline has been that good. It's been better than you, baby, and the whole Roderick Strong. All of that has been the best thing on AEW television. So if you put this on that show, it's gonna be one of the top matches. But this one is a throwaway match. I do think that, and I do agree with you in saying that yes, they have enough other matches on WrestleDream where this will be a throwaway matchup.
Yeah, so I don't think you need the Kingdom match for this. It sells more as an ROH event than it does as an AEW event. So that's probably why they're holding it off. What really hurts all of this is I just saw MJF Samoa Joe for free, and now I'm watching him a tag team match. I'm supposed to pay for that. That's why it doesn't matter, because you're not paying for MJF and Adam Cole on this show.
And it's the second straight pay-per-view they're having MJF not defend the world title, which makes the pay-per-view kind of feel lesser if you have him on the show and he's not defending the world championship. So that's why. That's all the reasons that I'm giving you there. I feel like there were two better options of doing MJF and Roderick Strong for the world title, or the MJF and Adam Cole versus the Kingdom, because both of them are a part of the actual storyline. This is like straight out of Ring of Honor 2007.
This is why
tag team titles have random title defense on a big Ring of Honor show.
This is why they don't need the tag team titles. Like they just don't. Like they don't need the tag team titles. You can do all of this without the ROH tag team titles, and it'll be fine. You can just do an MJF Adam Cole against Kingdom tag team match. ROH tag team titles don't feel important enough to me, especially when one guy is the AEW world champion on this. And especially when Aussie Open, they lost the ROH tag team titles, then they lost to Sex Gods, and then they won.
Don't get me started on the booking of Aussie Open heading into this title match, Jeremy, because Better Than You, baby, I'm fine with. I was wrong going into it. I predicted Aussie Open was going to retain, but I'm fine with it. But the fact that they lost to Sex Gods, I mean, it haunts me at night sometimes. My girl be thinking I'm mad at her, but I just be thinking about Sex Gods who are now broken up, who are building to a matchup, beat one of the two best tag teams in the world. That just did not make any sense from a booking perspective.
I'm with you. I am with you. It didn't. If they had gone after the titles, then it makes a little more sense. But they ain't gone after the titles. They lost, or they won, and then they broke up afterwards. It's dumb. It's dumb. It's absolutely stupid. Let's talk about good stuff from Collision. Let's talk about the GOAT, Bryan Danielson, and Ricky Starks having a great Texas death match. I don't know if there's been an update on Danielson. Very concerned for this man's knee throughout this match. He was selling it. It was after the top rope drop kick, and he was selling the knee, the left knee a little bit. He was kind of limping a little. He was holding at it. There's been no update, so I assume he's okay. I'm a little worried that
Well, Ricky
we
was
come.
working over the leg though.
Yeah,
Rem-
this looked like more than just him. I mean, maybe you're right.
I
Maybe you're
yeah,
right.
I'm sorry. Like anytime Bryan sells something really good, I'm just like, it's Bryan
Yeah.
Danielson.
One, yes. One, yes. It's like, yeah, it's Bryan selling. Like, he makes me believe. Two, I'm just always concerned this man
Also
is
true.
just gonna get injured because
I'm starting to get
you
like
know,
that with Adam Cole. I'm starting to get like
yeah.
that with Adam Cole, where I just get worried anytime he sells something too good. I'm like,
Look, bless Bryan Danielson, the GOAT, in my opinion. He can't be selling too hard here when he's got this match with Zack Sabre Jr. coming up because we've already lost out on this match once. Can't lose out on it again. So I hope it was he was just selling the hell out of his leg. The fact that we don't have any type of update and we're a couple days removed now seems like a good sign. Fingers crossed. But I'm also still a little concerned that like Wednesday's gonna come around. It's like we'll hear from Bryan Danielson. It's like, oh fuck, oh no, Bryan's gonna give us this bad news.
I just take into account Ricky was working over the knee, and he also did that final knee with the chain wrapped around it. But
that was the right knee though.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but I will say, man, just an absolutely outstanding sequel to that strap match. I don't know if it was as good as the strap match, but it was. Yeah, I think that it was an excellent TV match and arguably the best, like probably the second best match they've ever had on Collision outside of the FTR Bullet Club Gold 58-minute matchup. But it was violent, it was intense. Ricky pulling out the old Bryan Danielson springboard into the crowd spot in the early portion onto the whole security staff, him working over the knee, busting over Bryan just totally brutalizing him at the end with those stomps with his head going into the steel chair, and then him coming up bloody and then looking like he was just scared for his life as Ryan's wrapping the chain around. Like the facial expressions, I've never seen somebody step into a feud this late and put over somebody who he beat twice. He beat him twice, but Ricky Starks feels like so much more of a star after working with Bryan Danielson in two high-profile matchups than he did before this.
I'm with you. And now it's the follow-up with Ricky. Because this is what I said with the Jericho feud. He won the Jericho feud, I think. He did.
Yeah,
but like they didn't do anything until the Punk stuff came along. And then
they used him to put over Jay White, which was a bad follow-up.
Yeah, like the Punk stuff came along, and then it ended the way it ended. But then Danielson comes along, and the two matches have been great, and he's been all right. Penn Danielson in the tag team match, but now how do you follow up with Ricky? What is next for Ricky on this? And that's where they have to actually have a plan here, because he can't just go and he's still the Own Heart tournament winner. I would like to see, I said it the other week, like I want to see a little bit more with that with things. We'll see if they end up doing anything there. But I would like to see them reference that a little bit more. And I don't know if they will, but yeah, the follow-up with Ricky has got to be something. And like looking at the Collision landscape, I don't know, what are your thoughts maybe of what it could potentially be?
I think Ricky beats Phoenix for the international championship.
Okay.
I think the route they were going with, what they set up the last 2 weeks before this week, was Ricky Starks was probably going to feud with Jon Moxley over the international championship after Moxley beat Phoenix on Grand Slam. Of course, we had the whole incident. What happened? Moxley getting a mild concussion. He had to drop the title to Phoenix. I don't think we all know Phoenix wasn't the plan, so I don't think Phoenix is long for this world, and I didn't think Moxley's reign was long for this world in the plans. I think that Ricky was the next feud for Moxley, and I think you should just do a natural transition of a quick reign for Phoenix. He can get a title defense or two on Dynamite before coming over to Collision, and he'll be the one to drop the title to Ricky Starks, and then Ricky can go on a long reign with the international championship, which they have built well. And I know there's some people that's like, oh, TNT title is right there on Collision. No, No, let's keep that in the Christian vortex with Darby Allin. Darby's gonna probably win it at WrestleDream because it's in Seattle. It's his hometown. We know Tony Khan loves the hometown pop. So Darby's gonna win it there. Keep it there though. Keep it on Darby. Anytime Darby has it for a significant amount of time, he rebuilds it as the fighting championship. I think that's the goal for WrestleDream. But I think that Ricky should go after the international title.
But see, now the international title feels like the fighting championship. Thanks to
It
Orange
does.
Cassidy.
But you can have one on Dynamite, one on Collision.
I guess. I would. They just the titles. They gotta establish something different. I want the title. I want the TNT title to remain with Christian Cage forever. He should just keep it forever. Honestly, like Darby winning is fine. I actually think a Ricky and Darby feud would be really good. That was a pandemic highlight that happened during the pandemic. I think that would be very good. I don't know if they have any intention to go back to that, but I think that could be something there. I'm fine with Ricky getting the international title, beating Phoenix, doing a program with Moxley, because it did look like at the end of Collision, Ricky wanted to like shake Danielson's hand. And then Big Bill was getting in the way and Ricky was trying to pull him back. Yuta was out there and everything. So I'm not certain that this feud, at least the Blackpool Combat Club against Starks and Big Bill feud, is fully over. I'm with you that Ricky and Moxley may have been a plan coming out of this. It just, we'll see if they go back to that, because the Phoenix thing kind of and Mox's injury kind of threw a wrench into things. But you could certainly have Ricky winning the title and then Moxley now kind of chasing the title instead of being the champion out of this to continue things. Moxley is then a heel again instead of the Blackpool Combat Club with their heel and face divide. Is just whatever, whoever they're wrestling.
It depends on the feud. It depends on the feud. Regardless, it depends which feud they're in, who they're going against that week. They go from heel to face at whims.
Yeah. So we'll see when it comes to Ricky after this, but I hope there is some good follow-up for him, because that's what matters out of this. Going back to, there you go, I'm going to tie this all around like professional here, SP3. Going back to our conversation we were having before we were joined by Kevin Ku when it comes to LA Knight, is you mentioned that guys who feud with Roman don't get elevated out of this, really. And I think in some cases that's true. I think in other cases, maybe they're just back where they were, but it's the booking coming out of all of this. LA Knight has gotten over without the Roman Reigns push, which I don't think you can quite say about Sammy, and I don't think you can say about Drew either. LA Knight has kind of done this, especially to this level, done this on his own. So when he does the program with Roman, if he does the program with Roman, where is he at after that? Does he stay over? Because he is a guy who has gotten organically over the past year, really since the beginning of this year and the Bray program. I don't know if he comes out of this better or worse if he loses. I think a lot of people are going to assume it's going to be worse, because it's like, all right, you lost to Roman, now we can't support you type of thing. Or you've got there, you lost, who's next up for Roman? Let's get behind them now, because that's essentially what has happened is, okay, Drew lost, who's next up? Sammy lost, who's next up? Kevin was there as well. Cody, all right, who is next off of that? Jay, that's how it's gone. Where does that fit LA Knight if he does face Roman and if he loses to Roman?
It just
maybe
feels
I'm
like...
being...
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Maybe I'm being optimistic. Maybe if he faces Roman and loses, I think LA Knight can maintain some of this momentum better than Sammy and Drew, because he's proven through this year that he can get himself to a level we haven't seen guys get to, kind of without the Roman program.
I just think that if you eliminate LA Knight as a possibility by doing this matchup where he's more than likely 99% going to lose, I think that you eliminate him as an option of a guy who could dethrone Roman Reigns. Because right now we're still in the who do you think is going to finally dethrone Roman Reigns. We were in right after WrestleMania 38 when he beat Brock Lesnar. We were in the range of when is this going to end? And when the question changes from who, that's a problem for a title reign. And I feel like Roman Reigns, if you eliminate LA Knight as an option out there, because he's kind of like a dark horse option outside of like the Cody Rhodes of the world and stuff like that. He's one of those dark horse options, but you're eliminating another guy that quite won't be as over if he does come around again to face Roman Reigns. Like Kevin Owens, you kind of mentioned him in there in the group of people. I didn't mention him in there because he was a plug-in. He was a plug-in to build to Sammy. He was not quite as over. He's another one. He's not quite as over as he was when the first time he went around with Roman Reigns. A lot of that is down to losing 4 times in a row to him. A lot of that is down to his position on the card and where he was used, but it just is what it is. Like, this is what happens when you're a hot baby face and you're facing the dominant heel champion, where we really don't know where the end is. Well, a couple of months ago, we thought it was WrestleMania 40. Now The Rock is back. We don't even know if Cody's going to verse Roman at WrestleMania 40. It might be 41. Like, we're getting close to that point where it's like, okay, when does this title reign end? Because I'm over it.
Let it go forever. Just let him hold this title forever. Acknowledge him every single week. I need him to show up a little bit more. Just show up and just be like, wherever the hell they're at, acknowledge me. And then just leave. Fine with that. You ain't got to do shit else. Don't care. Come out, acknowledge me. Peace out. People are like, hey, what's up with Roman? He got acknowledged. That's all he gives a shit about. Just acknowledge the man.
Just acknowledge him so he can go. So I can go home and get some sleep.
He's got a lot of kids, man. He probably needs some sleep. His family can't do shit without him. Dude, I feel bad for Roman Reigns, man. He's got kids at home. He's got kids on television. None of these people can support themselves. None of them can function.
He's always getting called by Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman
has to call him every single week during the same time. Roman's got to be like, 8 o'clock, SmackDown's coming on. He's like, fuck, I just block off my next 2 hours. Paul's going to call me at some point during this show. Roman's going to be like, can they not do anything? Why is it every Friday night from 8 to 10, these idiots can't fend for themselves? Huh? Wait, I wonder what the rest of the week is like. If they're having this much trouble just from this 2-hour period, how much worse is it during the rest of the week for him? Paul Heyman's calling him all the damn time. He's already got enough kids. It's school. They're all back in school and everything as well.
That's true.
Jimmy can't do shit. Jimmy doesn't know what's going on. Solo, I don't know what Solo is out there doing. Paul can't make a damn decision. Stop calling. If I'm Roman, I'm like, dude, you have the authority right now.
It's my day off. Why you keep calling me? Like, that's why I'm like, I said this week was good, but I'm also like, Jimmy Uso taking on a leadership role. Roman's like, finally, somebody's stepping up. Somebody can make a decision without me being there. I'm trying to delegate my tasks without me being there, and y'all won't do it. Jimmy's doing it. He's going to come back. Roman's going to be like, you're employee of the month. Here, congratulations.
Roman just wants to go on vacation. He just wants to sleep, man. And these dudes can't function without him. Just let Roman be. Just acknowledge him and let him be. Quit screwing things up. Rock's coming back when he's not there. He's got to answer all these questions about The Rock. Why is The Rock there? You're not there. What's going on? Roman's like, yeah, he's a coward showing up when I'm not there.
You should be there.
Let him. No, he's ready. He had the time off. That's why The Rock showed up. Rock's like, oh, Roman's on here? Okay, this is when I'm going to show up. Roman's not around.
He called him. He left him a voicemail, and he didn't pick up. He was busy sleeping on his expensive couch.
He should.
And then he woke up at 8 p.m. and he saw The Rock. Don't be mad at him. He called you to let you know.
He deserved it. He deserved to take these naps, man. Just does.
He need to pick up his phone more. Paul Heyman was trying to tell him too. He was like, call Roman Reigns. When he saw The Rock pull up backstage, he was like, call Roman Reigns and Roman didn't pick up. Not his fault. Not Roman's fault. Not Rock's fault.
West All says, what are the chances no one actually defeats Roman and his reign ends with him just vacating? I hope it happens. I want the funniest
That
possible
would be
outcome.
hilarious. He gets injured in a matchup. And
No, I don't want it. I don't want an injury. All right,
Well, you just want him to go home and just vacate the. He's never gonna do that. He'd rather just go home with the titles.
It would be hilarious. You know me. I'm chaos. I want hilarity out of this stuff because that's what gets people upset. I'm not stupid enough to get upset about professional wrestling. I'm not saying anybody who gets upset about I admire people's passion and stuff. I'm not passionate enough, I guess, to get upset about professional wrestling. I want hilarity when it comes to this stuff. What's the dumbest possible outcome? Roman coming out after when's he break Bruno's record? He's still got a while for that. Roman coming out.
He's got a few years before that.
Good.
But I think that Cody is getting pushed back to WrestleMania 41 so he can at least pass Hogan. He's gonna be second all time.
Let him come out. Just be like, I'm beating everybody. I asked for people to step up. Everyone who stepped up, just beat them, smashed them, stacked them. Everyone has acknowledged me. My own family finally acknowledged me. The Rock, the biggest star of all time, he acknowledged me. Steve Austin, I'm just saying Steve Austin. Steve Austin.
What? Like, when did that happen?
He's going to beat him. Acknowledged me. I ran people off to the competition. Got him out of here. They had to go elsewhere to try to win gold. I had people going doing podcasts. I had people going to Hollywood. Cody Rhodes twice, 3 times maybe. Seth Rollins, some point he'll beat Seth. Seth Rollins, my old Shield running mate. The other guy didn't even want to come back. Guys were scared to return. Guys were getting into fights elsewhere. And then when they said, you want to come back to WWE to acknowledge the tribal chief? I said, no. Decided to go do Hollywood, stars, television. I don't need this title anymore. I don't need it. I'm going to go do Hollywood. I'm going to go do television. And maybe if I return, someone will have proven that they deserve to be this champion. Until then, I'm out. And he throws up the deuces. He says deuces, ooses as well.
Deuces, ooses.
He's like, acknowledge me one final time. One final time, everybody. Acknowledge me. And then he just leaves. He just leaves. Mm-hmm. He leaves. They do a tournament or a battle royal or however they're going to decide the champion. And then that person holds the title. And then they lose the title. And then somebody else holds it and then lose. And 1 year later, you see the big Roman CGI. That thing rules. You see that whole thing. Brock Lesnar's the champion at this point, I assume. Brock's the champion. Brock comes out. You know, here comes the pain. Heyman's aligned with Brock. His idea was flip everything, right? Heyman is aligned with Brock.
Flipping it back to what it originally was.
Yeah. Time is a flat circle, SP3. The WWE universe is a flat circle, okay? Brock's the champion. Heyman's with Brock. And then here comes Roman Reigns, returning from Hollywood. He gets in Brock's face. Roman and Brock. One more time, baby. Let's go. WrestleMania 45 at this point. Roman and Brock. Get ready, baby. Get ready.
I won't be watching any of this. I will quit the wrestling media business if any of this happens. If any of this happens, then that Jeremy just wished this into the Lord's, the wrestling Lord's head. Nah, I'm good. I won't be here. I won't be here to talk about it.
This is great. This is
Don't
cinema.
worry. I said I'm gonna quit.
This is cinema. Media. All the new fans, all the fans who hadn't been watching in 5 years and stuff, all these fans, they're gonna be like, this is a callback to WrestleMania, whatever the fuck the first time they fought.
31 and 34 and 38.
Yeah, this is a callback. Look at this long-term storytelling. Long-term storytelling. That's what it's going to be. Roman and Brock, WrestleMania 45, baby. It's going to be fantastic. Get ready, world. Get ready.
What do you want to, why do you watch wrestling? You watch wrestling to just anger
Get
people?
paid. Cash. That's why I watch.
Cash money.
They pay me to watch this.
Absolutely.
That's why.
That's my reasoning as well. I get paid to watch wrestling at this point.
Right. Would I watch all of this if I was not doing this show 3 days a week? If I was not writing, yes, pop just for Jeff Philly Driver, justified long-term storytelling chance. Would I watch all of this stuff? I didn't get paid to do all this news and everything. They don't actually pay me to watch because I don't cover the shows half the time anyway now.
The only show that I technically get paid to watch that I do enjoy is usually Dynamite, because I know if I do enjoy the show, probably in less than 24 hours, I'm going to have someone rip it apart for me, and I enjoy it a lot less.
Is he up? Is Jimmy up?
No, he's never going to be up at this. He literally made me schedule the show for 1 p.m. because he said I'd never seen 12 p.m. in my life. Since he left for college.
I have never spoken to Jimmy. I've never met him. I want to, though. I was gonna have you send him this link. Just be like, hey,
I'll message him, see if he answers. Throw him a bone. But
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of his work. And I don't think I've had a single interaction with him, but I would like to tell him how much I appreciate his work.
Oh, that's nice. Even if he doesn't, he's not up. I'll just clip this so he can hear it and he can be like, "Oh, that gave me a whole bunch of emotions that I hate right now." He's the worst person to give a compliment to.
No, I watch wrestling, because I get paid to write about wrestling. I get paid to write about the news stories and stuff. I can honestly do that without watching the shows. I don't need to watch the shows to write the Eddie Kingston interview quotes and things. It helps. It certainly helps to know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, if you don't do shows like this, like podcast, I don't know how anyone would watch as much wrestling as I do. Or even just watch all the WWE and AEW content, just that in general. That seems like that's 12 hours right there. That's 12 hours out of a week. That's man, there's people getting less hours than that in work.
I don't know how you watch all of that and then you watch all the other shows that you watch, like,
it's for the love of the game, man. It's for the love of the game, because I am trying my best to be the standard of star ratings over Uncle Dave. It's gonna be my star ratings as a standard. We're even doing a star rating show on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. And I'm gonna pitch it. I'm gonna pitch it. Maybe it'll finally get me a permanent teacher spot at Fightful.
Is this the Alex McCarthy gimmick that he pitched to me, but he said he didn't have time for?
Something similar to what me and Alex was doing over on Inside the Ropes, and I know he said he was going to talk to you about it. But with Jimmy, I think it's even better because Jimmy will, Jimmy is Jimmy, and not only will he analyze a star rating, he will tell you why he doesn't think Uncle Dave even watched the matchup. So that's why I like doing it. Jimmy is a little bit more vitriol. I think me and Alex are too nice together. So I think I needed someone to balance me. So I think with Jimmy, it's going to be fun.
Jeff Felly Driver's asking, do you rate women's matches in Impact?
Yes, I do. Unlike Uncle Dave.
Everything.
I gave Chris Statland 2 4-star matches last week with Jay Cargill and Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. Now look at Wrestling Observer newsletter. Dave didn't even rate those matches. I was like, damn, Dave. Like, I know you watched them. Like, come on.
My star ratings are 1. I don't do them. We've had this discussion before. I got like 2 5-star matches. The
Kane versus Big Show in
Kane and Big Show
2006.
chain wrestling. That's a 5-star match. Sami Zayn, Johnny Knoxville is a 5-star match. And the Doomsday Cage match, the Alliance to end Hulkamania against Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage.
Oh my God,
those are
you
my
couldn't
5-star
pick
matches.
worse matches.
That match rules. Those are my 5-star matches.
Congratulations.
Every other match sucks.
I'll give those negative 5 stars. You must love Sharmell versus Jenna Morocco too.
That match ruled too. If you don't like Sami Zayn against Johnny Knoxville, I cannot take your wrestling opinions.
No, I loved it. That was a great comedy match.
Okay. That's a great pro wrestling match.
It's a great comedy match.
Great pro wrestling match. Jenna against Sharmell is fantastic. There's so much just good wrestling. You turn on any streaming service out there, Fight, IWTV, whatever. Turn on any stream. You can watch a good pro wrestling match any day of the week.
I will say, a bad wrestling match does sometimes live longer in the memory. I will say that because
Xavier Woods says this all the time. Xavier Woods, we're one the same. I see you, Xavier. Mm-hmm. We're one the same. He says it's like great pro wrestling matches are great. You remember the great matches, the ones that are very clearly head and shoulders above a lot of these other matches. But then the bad matches. Give me a bad match, because a bad pro wrestling match is really going to stand out. Because there's just so much good. There's just so much good wrestling.
I feel like this year's worst match of the year is going to be some competition, because I feel like Bray Wyatt versus LA Knight Pitch Black match had that award like on lock, but now that Bray has passed away, I don't think people are going to try to give him a negative award. So I think that it's probably going to be tougher naming a worst match of the year than best match of the year.
People who pick that as the worst match clearly didn't watch it. So clearly
I watched it multiple times. That is not a good matchup.
Okay, here's my counter to it, SP3. Did you watch it while drinking Mountain Dew Pitch Black?
I watched it while eating an edible, and I enjoyed it a little bit more on the edible, but I did not enjoy it when I was sober.
I've said this before. The best way you want to enjoy any Bray Wyatt stuff, just get stoned. Like whether you smoke, whether you take an edible, Bray Wyatt stuff is so good when you are high.
And why Solable? He's actually right that Brit and Ty is gonna get some votes, because that feels like when everybody kind of like the whole world, like a lot of people already knew AEW's female rookie was bad, but like I think that one was the eye opener of, oh, Britt Baker is kind of falling off since 2 years ago. And also that sign in the crowd says you need to book women's wrestling better. Like that's a double whammy. Also, Gable Stevenson versus Baron Corbin from Great American Bash. Oh my God. That goes down in history as one of the worst WWE debuts of all time. Like he looked green. He versed someone that probably wasn't the best opponent for him, and he didn't win. It was a double count out. And he said, "You're not ankle." The crowd chanted, "You're not ankle," and chanted for Baron Corbin over him. Oh my God. Yeah, that might do it. I think that's gonna get the votes.
I think that'll
more
win.
Than Bray and LA Knight.
One, you didn't enjoy the Bray match properly if you were not one or two things. One, high. Two, just hopped up on Mountain Dew Pitch Black. You gotta have the Mountain Dew Pitch Black during the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match, okay? What's wrong with you people? Senor Nerd says, the Shane McMahon versus the Miz at Mania 39 when Shane tore both. No.
Another good one. That's another good one.
It doesn't count though.
But Snoop is the one that's
exactly. That match became a triple threat match. No one knew that. No one knew. It's a triple threat match, and Snoop won, and that match rules. Snoop was the WrestleMania MVP. I don't care what anybody says.
I'm sorry, your rant about Snoop Dogg being the MVP on our WrestleMania review, still one of the highlights of 2023 for me on camera.
Raw tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, the Tyrus for tonight. Yeah, anytime. See, nobody watched that.
Yeah, no one
So
watched.
that's
That's the issue with NWA matches. I feel like NWA matches would get more votes the last couple of years, but no one watches it. So if a tree falls in the forest and no one's around to see it, did it really fall?
Yeah, everybody just watched the gifs of that match. So no one actually watched that match. Oh yeah. Raw tonight, SP3. What are you looking forward to?
I am looking forward to the Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus Judgment Day rematch. I thought they had a splendid match at Payback. I thought that was the match of the night then. If they get a bunch of time now, I think that it will be the best match on tonight's show. And I really am interested in the whole Judgment Day storyline with Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens. Is very obviously building to War Games. And most of all, I'm looking forward to tonight's show so we can find out what the hell's going to be on Fastlane, because that's in like less than 2 weeks.
What about Sammy and not Sammy. I mean, they might do a rematch. Finn and Shinsuke is on that show. Like that's
No, they didn't. They haven't announced that.
Nah, I mean they're.
It's obvious that they're building to that, but they have not. They've only announced one match, and that one match we only know 3 of the 4 participants.
Yeah. We shall see. We shall see what they announce for Fastlane. I'm looking forward to Cody Rhodes. He's opening the show. He's going to be like, so what do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about Jey Uso, but oops, there comes Dominic Mysterio again.
Is he going to face Omos? People are like, because they did the bit at the live event. Oh, Cody and Omos would be great.
I think that's Saudi.
Oh, you think that's a Saudi match?
Yeah, I think that's gonna be basically like his Dominic matchup at Money in the Bank, where it's just an interlude from his real feud. That's what I think Omos is gonna be for him at Saudi before he's in the War Games against Judgment Day.
Oh, so is he not doing anything at Fastlane? Do they do?
I think they do him and
man?
Jay. I think they do him and Jay versus maybe the tag champs, the Finn and Damian.
Oh, okay. Maybe. A shock. First off, why Solo Blade says shout out to Mad King contract extension 4 more years. Why Solo Blade says, where did you read that? Fightful is where you read that. I'm sure you probably read it on why Solo Blade says Reddit. I'm sure you probably read it on Reddit or one of these engagement accounts that don't give any credit to people. It's like, oh, we said it on ad-free shows. Yeah, that's where he said it. Said it on ad-free shows. We know who listens to the ad-free shows. You know who transcribed it before anybody else out there. You read it on Fightful. Everybody, I need these engagement accounts. I don't want people following me because I don't want people following me on Twitter. No, I don't want any followers. No, I just want my credit. That's all.
Give Jeremy his credit and his love.
I just want my credit from these engagement accounts. These engagement accounts don't listen to all these interviews. They just don't. They don't listen to these interviews. They read it on typically Fightful, sometimes Post Wrestling, sometimes Wrestling News. I think all of those websites do great work when it comes to transcription. WrestlingNews.co. They've done a good job when it comes to transcriptions. Like the GOAT is over at Post Wrestling. He does. Everyone knows he does the best work in the business. I feel like I do halfway decent work. We don't say his name.
You do great.
We don't say his name. He's just the
Okay.
GOAT. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't comment on the name out here.
Out here in these streets.
Yeah, that's a bit. So yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh, okay. The engagement accounts aren't listening to all of this. They're taking the quotes. They're taking the quotes from our website or one of these other websites and posting on their account, and then they're getting the engagement off of it. It's annoying because they're not listening. I'm gonna start putting out fake quotes from wrestlers. I'll be a big crybaby. I don't care.
Thank you, Wise Solo.
I've said this before, by the way. When I retire, which I don't know when, it'll be a long time from now, unless like I win the lottery and then I'll retire tomorrow. When I retire, my going away party is just running a bunch of fake quotes. And then all these websites are going to pick it up and they're going to, they said this on this show because they ain't actually listening to these shows. They're just going to trust me. I've built up enough credibility to where they will just trust that if I say they said it, they will run it.
Yes.
And then everybody, the entire wrestling world is going to look stupid. And everybody's going to be mad at everybody. And they can be mad at me. They can be mad at me. I don't care. Because I'm retired at that point. I'm just going to watch the wrestling media world burn with a bunch of fake quotes when I retire.
Absolutely. Ready. Yes, A-Shock. Big Ed will dethrone Roman Reigns. That's in the cards. That's in the plans. I'm
Can't
here
guillotine
for it.
Choke that man. Can't guillotine choke him.
No. How you going to spear him? You just going to jump over him. He's too short. How you going to do that, Roman?
Bounce off of him.
Exactly. Going to be like Darby Allin.
He ain't going nowhere.
Darby Allin running into Satam Singh all over again. Yeah. Come on, you can't do that.
No. Superman punch? You can't affect that man. Ain't got no chin neither. What are you punching?
He was a Yukon warrior. You think I'm scared of anybody? He literally said that. He literally
got
said
no
that
chin, got no neck.
To a black New York police officer. He said that. He said, I'm a Yukon warrior. You think I'm scared of anybody? Big Ed the GOAT.
SP3, thank you for joining me today. Let everybody know where they can find you at.
You can find me on the Twitter machine at TrueHeelSP3. I will be back on your YouTube screens if you want to go check out the True Heel Heat YouTube channel. We go live at 2:05 p.m. Eastern Time today for our NJPW Destruction in Kobe 2023 review. Such a great show with an excellent yes, Kobe. Yeah, it had me so confused. Romeo put the thumbnail as Kobe review, and I was like, oh, we're reviewing Kobe? I'm down. But yes, check it out. It's later today. Talk about Ospreay versus Tsuji. The fact that Will Ospreay and Zack Sabre Jr., two British wrestlers who are English speaking, cut a 95% Japanese promo. We're going to talk all about that. So go over and check it out. True Heel Heat YouTube channel.
Go support the folks at True Heel Heat. Go support SP3. Go support Romeo.
Oh yeah, and we're 500 subscribers away from 10,000. So if y'all can help us out,
go subscribe. Go subscribe. My Syllable says Ric Flair set for in-ring return against 20,000 day champ. I'm gonna do it. This is the thing. We saw it all blow up with Mace, Massey, and Mansoor saying that Riddle slapped Gunther and Gunther didn't do anything about it.
People were running with it. People ran with it.
Because they don't actually listen to this stuff. I had to be the one to correct it and be like, actually, no, this did not happen. Like a dork correcting these stories. But I went back, I listened, I think twice. I was like, did he say this? I didn't hear this, but you know what? Let me check. Because I actually check, and I'm not just going to run with these stories without actually listening to it. So I was the one who listened to it and then had to correct it. They call Sean Ross Sapp over here listening to Doja Cat album. He ain't paying attention to their stream. Listen to Doja Cat. I'm going to put out fake quotes. When I retire, I'm going to put out fake quotes. And I'm going to just burn the wrestling world down with a bunch of fake quotes. Eddie Kingston's going to say nice things about people. That nobody will expect that. Eddie Kingston
nobody would think that's real.
Yeah. Seth Rollins is just he's gonna be like, yeah, AEW, we made an offer to them. We're gonna buy AEW. Tony Khan agreed to it. Then John Moxley stepped in. He was like, I'm not gonna work for him, so you can't sell this company. Just a
Shield three-way at WrestleMania 41. Shield three-way.
Bunch of fake quotes. That's gonna be my legacy. The real quotes. The man who went insane just did a bunch of fake quotes.
Four horsewomen face off at WrestleMania 41 too.
Charlotte Flair says the four horsewomen were supposed to face at WrestleMania 30. They weren't even on television at WrestleMania 30. Who cares?
They were in Triple H's entrance at WrestleMania.
Yeah, they were supposed to face at WrestleMania 30. And Triple H said, no, you're better off just being as part of my entrance.
Yeah.
Charlotte Flair said that on the Why So Serious podcast. Go listen to it, everybody.
The Undertaker says he's returning at AEW Double or Nothing 2024 at the One Dead Man show. Because no one's going to listen to that.
No one? Well, you can't. You're not allowed to have phones and that thing. So that's why no one ever has quotes from the One Dead Man show, because you can't record it. They make you stick your phone in one of those little gimmicks to where you can't get it out. They lock it and everything. Like you can't. Yeah. It's like, you ever been to a comedy show, SP3? Like I went to Chris Rock.
I've been to one.
I went to Chris Rock a few years ago, and like you got to put your phone, and even I had to put my watch in there. Like, I can't do anything on my watch.
What?
But like, yeah, you got to put your phone in like this little bag that gets locked, so you can't get it out. And then once you leave, they unlock the bag, and then you can get your phone and stuff out. But yeah, they lock that stuff. They do that.
That sounds crazy.
They don't want people recording, people texting. Like your attention needs to be on the show.
I have, you know, a short attention span, so I don't even know if doing that is gonna help.
No. All right, everybody. Yeah, so the glasses, they're gonna have to start taking the glasses. Yeah, they do it for a lot of comedy shows. This isn't like a new thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Like they do this for a lot of comedy shows. They do it for Undertaker's show as well. All right, everybody. Go follow SP3 on Twitter. Go support True Heel Heat. Thank you as always to SP3 for stepping in on short notice. He'll be on. I'm announcing this right now. He'll be on the spotlight next Thursday. I hope your plans are free.
Cool. Sounds good.
Yeah. Jensen is going to ask you in about 5 minutes when I tell Jensen. So just letting you know.
Thank you for giving me the heads up. Yeah. Freaking Joel, who knows Yom Kippur, is on Yom Kippur.
Right.
Actually, yesterday. Like, what?
Right. He acts like you just don't have anything better to do, SP3. What are we doing here? What are we doing?
Hey, I was able to move some stuff around, but yeah, like we said, 2:05, I'll be over on True Hill Heat. J News and Sanal will be with me. So check it out.
All right, everybody. We'll be back on Wednesday. I guess Joel Pearl will be back, unfortunately. Thanks to Kevin Ku for joining us today. We appreciate it. Shout out to him. Shout out to Black Label Pro. They put on a great event, 2 great events, technically, this past weekend. Everybody, we'll be back on Wednesday. Make sure you hit the thumbs up on the channel, on the video. However this works, this is why Joel does this portion of the show, because he's better at it. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Appreciate all the comments, and thanks for my crybaby getting us a little bit of money out of this. I'll take it. Don't care. Again, we'll be back. We'll be back on Wednesday. Tag Talk should be back today at 3 p.m. Eastern. So everyone support Haley and Kylie. Tag Talk. FMC will be back tomorrow. And yeah, there you go, everybody. Bye, everyone. Have a good evening, day, night.